welcome to Off the Post, powered by Lights on Electric and Coverall Exteriors. I'm Russ Cohen. We've got Anthony Mingione. And how are you?
Doing okay today, Russell. How are you?
I'm fine. It was a nice day today. I went on a walk with my dogs.
Before the blizzard hits.
I think we're only getting 5 inches, but I know it's
I think so too. I think every time they hype these things up, it's just
it's terrible down south. Like they're going to get some bad.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
When Jim Cantore is in your town, you're in trouble. That's all I could say.
He's kind of like for me, just real quick, Mike. He's kind of like I still the two. There's the two British actors. I'm trying to think of their names. One is it's Michael Sheen and
the guy who played Doctor Who.
David
Tennant.
David Tennant. And they had this argument going back and forth, and every time David Tennant shows up at a small British town, people start dying. That's basically Jim Cantor. Bad stuff's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think the show was Broadchurch because he plays in Broadchurch. So yeah, they think.
Yeah, and we have Mike Ogello. Mike.
Thank you, Russell. I've heard the longest winter storm warning coming next week, which of course I'm going up to Toronto to cover Sabres Leafs. And they say the winter storm warning is lasting from 1 p.m. Monday to 5 p.m. on Friday. And it's like, what? I'm like, oh, great. I hope they salt the roads.
There's no Canada.
Yeah, you may not be covering that game. All right. So we'll first start off with, I saw a little tidbit. I think Josh Yoli put it out. I don't think I'm terribly surprised. Like, we were wondering if this is going to be the last year of Evgeny Malkin, and now he said, hey, I'll sign on for another year if you want me to. And
vibes are good, man.
Yeah,
just give me $10 million.
I mean, but he'll probably give him a break. Maybe it'll be like 8.5, something like that. But
pay me in rubles in a paper bag.
Listen, I told you, I believe in them as far as this year to make the playoffs. I think they are going to make the playoffs, and then who knows beyond that. But I mean, yeah, why not give them another year? I mean, at this point, they probably will.
I'm feeling like Dan Hughes should be definitely. He's not going to be a finalist for the Adams, but he probably in some ways
he should be at least in the conversation. Whether
it's not easy to walk in there and kind of get that group to sort of they're used to doing things a certain way, and
yeah.
It's going to be Cooper and Bednar and a third guy, and I don't know who the third guy is.
Maybe it's Muse. Maybe it will be Muse.
I mean, it's not going to be Mike Sullivan. And it's not going to be.
I'm thinking it's going to potentially be. I'm guessing because of where Anaheim's at. If they're in playoff range, Quenneville might be.
Yeah, he might get there.
Yeah. Well, hello.
Looks like my food arrived early.
I was going to say.
Supposed to be for like 5:15.
Oh my God, Russ! We got additional DoorDash sponsors.
Wait a second. Did Anna knock on the door?
Anna did not knock on the door, but thank you so much. Opportunity did apparently. So, all right, so let's talk about. We'll go with the Philadelphia Flyers because they played the Utah Mammoth and they had a nice lead in that game, a 3-0 lead, and they eventually lost. And
just say it, Russ. It's there for you. Mammoth collapse.
Yeah, I'm not going there. But there's a few key things in this one. The first one is, and I've said it for weeks, I don't know how anybody in the NHL has a job when you played 43 games like Garnet Hathaway and have 1 point, which is 1 goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Ryan Reeves.
Yeah, well, but he doesn't even fight as much as Ryan Reeves does. So, like, that part's even out. And then you get into usage of players and such. And when the game is on Garnet Hathaway's stick, it's not a great place to be, but it's an empty net goal, right? And I happen to think, and this could be just me, that he took that extra second because he really wanted to kind of like place it in there.
He wanted to make sure it was in.
He wanted to really make sure it was in. It's like, dude, you got to shoot it in right away, puck off the stick. And he didn't do that. And Nick Schmaltz lifted his stick, and the game ended shortly after that with Clayton Keller.
Yeah, there's nothing. I mean, and the sad, again, part of this game for Philadelphia is that there was a lot of really good things that happened for them. The first period was as good as I've seen them play this year. I mean, in terms of playing to Tocchet's system and basically taking away time and space from the Mammoth, and playing that good, classic, rock-solid road game that you need to have. And the second period, again, they get up 3-0. Maybe the throttle was, letting up a little bit, and Utah took advantage. And But then in the third, you get that goal from Christian Dvorak, and it's 4-2, and you should be feeling pretty much okay with a 2-goal lead. And then they get a power play goal, and then they got a chance to salt the game away. I felt like throughout most of the game they had control of things from the opening ball up until around about 30 seconds to go in the hockey game, basically.
Well, there was one thing though that I had noticed, and people a while ago asked me, like, Russ, you really act like you like Jack McBain. Why do you like him? We don't see it. And I'm like, because he's a big guy who wins.
Asked about Jack McBain that much?
I was asked about Jack McBain when he got traded, and Utah picked him up. And he wins faceoffs. He's a big guy, and he could play some heavy minutes. And the one thing I noticed, coaching change-wise, was he started to get used on every faceoff for like the last 5 minutes of that game because they were getting killed, and Jack McBain won most of them. And that turned out to be a key switch on Utah's part.
And this is what Taka was, I think, talking about in postgame, is the fact that these were the critical moments of the game. Yeah. And this is where the team sunk. And he's not naming names, but I think it's very easy to know who, in fact, the players he's referring to. He's referring to his veteran core, the group that he expects more from. Yeah. But I also have to say in the back of my head that this veteran core that they have in place is not one that's had a lot of winning.
Right.
So if you're expecting them to, be able sometimes to close out those moments, you'd like to see that happen. But I can't tell you necessarily, with the exception of with the exception of Couturier, who early on in his career certainly saw some winning, and some spurts of his career he saw some winning. But this isn't necessarily a veteran group that's been through what I would call like the wars in this circumstance. And I do at times question, and I think this year in some ways is in ways a moment of truth for some of the players. But the thing is, they're already committed to these contracts.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of see, but again, and I know it's been very popular amongst Flyer fans to fire away at Sean Couturier, especially those who were fans of Matvei Michkov and want equivalency for the two.
He plays for the same amount of points as last year, which isn't great, but that's what he is.
It's not. But again, what the expectations are for Sean Couturier versus Matvei Michkov at this point are completely different in this circumstance.
Yeah. Mike, any thoughts? Do you think they're going to fall out of it completely now? Do you think they'll get in that top 11 for the draft? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've been of the same opinion about the Flyers for about 3 weeks to a month after seeing them play in Buffalo, and they were not impressive. Seeing them play against Toronto, and that game went to overtime, 1-1. They were, they played a tight game, and I mean, I see some pieces there that I think are good and that I think are, future pieces that are going to be good, but there's not enough there. And that's my problem. It's like, I mean, and it's not, injuries, although, you lose Forrester and that's a loss. It's just that there's not enough players, and there are players who are coming.
Luchenko is in the organization.
Yeah. Luchenko is coming. Martone is coming, but I think you need a couple free agents. I think you need maybe to make a trade or two. I think the injury to Ristolainen, in terms of whether
that's a big one for me, Mike. I think that blue line looked like it was in decent shape, because if you have a Ristolainen in who now is a different defenseman than he was when he was in Buffalo now, after obviously working with Brad Shaw, I think he understands how he needs to play in the league. He's that sort of connective tissue that sort of allows the defense to stretch out and allows you to distribute minutes better. Now that he's out of the lineup, the warts, when you have to play with Juleson more than you would like to, and you have to play Travis Sanheim way more than you would like to, instead of parsing out those minutes, that blue line starts to show warts.
This is commonly known as the Peter Forsberg effect. When Peter Forsberg used to be in and out of the lineup for the Flyers, everybody was like, wow, they were so much better with Peter Forsberg in there, and they're kind of waiting for him to come back, and then, he wouldn't come back.
Still has I think there's still a chance of a solid career here.
I just mean this year in the lineup.
Forsberg, so much of that offense was different with him in there.
But the thing
he would miss a lot of games. That's the point.
Yeah, but the thing with Ristolainen is, I mean, okay, had he stayed healthy, if they were still in the race, they would obviously keep him. if they fell out of the race, he was a piece that you could trade at the deadline. Not that you're going to get a first round pick for him, but right shot defenseman, you could get a second round pick, you could get an asset. Now, if he's out, every general manager who's looking for help at the deadline saying, well, he's hurt again. Even if he's back by March the 6th, are you going to get anything more than probably a mid-round pick? Probably not.
And then they won't trade him. They'll just let it ride.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of letting it ride, Mike, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they seem to be adrift again.
Well, I mean, I don't know about them being adrift, but the injury woes have returned, and at the worst possible time and at the worst possible place, which is on the blue line. They get, Chris Tanev. The book on him right now is he doesn't know whether he wants to have season-ending groin surgery. He thinks that he could get back before the playoffs, but the problem is, will they make the playoffs? So he's rolling the dice. I have a feeling that eventually they'll coax him into having surgery because if he does come back, he's probably not going to be at 100%. And then last night, losing in a 2-1 overtime loss to Detroit, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who's been their best defenseman, gets hurt in the first period. They say he's going to miss some time, and you're only 2 weeks away from the Olympics, and he is on Team Sweden. So the chances of him going to Italy decrease. And Brandon Carlo came out this morning. Their fear is he may have tweaked something. He played 21 minutes last night, but you put all three of those together, and then basically that's three of your four best defensive defensemen. Ekman-Larsson's not a great defensive defenseman, but he's been pretty good this year. And you're talking about playing the likes of, Simone Benoit and Troy Stetcher and Philippe Myers in the top 5 or 6, and that's
Phil Myers.
Well, if it was me, I would be calling up Henry Thrun because he's a better defenseman.
Yeah,
because Craig Berube worked with Myers in Philadelphia. That basically gives him carte blanche to give away the puck with reckless abandon. Their defense is in trouble. William Nylander continues to be out. He missed his 3rd straight game. Matthew Knies is playing on.
Hold on, question. Berube, did he coach Phil Myers? I thought that was because that was.
Well, he was in the organization.
Right. So he has familiarity. He didn't coach. I didn't coach him per se. I don't think.
Yeah, he was in the organization, and I think he was around the Flyers when Myers was there. So Henry Thrun, is playing okay with the Marlies, but has NHL experience, can move the puck better. But there just seems to be an unwillingness to play him when even he played pretty good in the few times that he did play, and maybe they're going to have to call him up now. But the point is, with Nylander out, and now Matthew Knies basically playing on one leg, admitting that, he's not feeling too good, but he's going to tough it out until the Olympic break so he can get healthy during the Olympic break. Well, they have 7 games to go until the Olympic break. And if they're 4 or 5 points out of a playoff spot, great, you'll have everybody healthy back on at the end of February, but you may be out of the playoff race by then. So, that's the long and the short of it with the Leafs. Matthews.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Let's see if we can suss this out. Okay. So the Leafs average like 3.4 goals per game. They were one of the top 5-7 best teams in the league. Their power plays at 17%, one of the worst power plays in the league.
But it's been better since. Okay,
but you got to let me finish.
Okay.
I have a point here. They were 21.7% when Dave Haxtell ran the power play. Are they missing Dave Haxtell?
No.
How could you say no? That's almost 5% higher.
No, because
Marner. Come on.
No.
I'm just asking. Hey, sometimes it's systematic. Of course, you're missing Marner, but still, you don't. If they're averaging 3.4 goals per game, they have enough scoring. That's my point.
Well, they were a top 10 power play unit last year with Mark Savard coaching the power play. This year,
he got dumb this year.
Once Steve Sullivan took over, I think since it's December 23rd, they're top 10 in the league on the power play. So it's not Marner, it's not the coaching. I think it was tactics, it was design, and I think that's been rectified. But the problem with the Leafs has been defensively. I believe they have a negative goal differential, or if not, at their +1 or 2. I mean, their defense has been decimated by injury since the middle of November, and they've never had, since then they've never had their top 6 blue line together. And I think
actually the Leafs are a +1 right now.
There you go. Oh,
but if the Leafs, so you're saying with the fixed power play, that 0 for 2 power play against Detroit couldn't have come in handy if they got a goal?
Well, sure, they could have, Russ, but I'm just saying
it was 0 for 2. That's my point.
It wasn't 0 for 7 for.
0 for 0 for Mike.
Oh my God, Russ! Now you're just.
I'm not. No, because this is a tight game, and they needed a power play goal. So I don't think it's fixed.
What's that Twitter meme of the troll?
No, it's not.
I'm gonna shoehorn this thing in. God damn it!
Yep.
Well, because with Mike, I always have to sled against it. He's gonna.
No, you got to remember Russ Cohen has his narrative, and he's gonna shove it down your throat.
So the Buffalo Sabres, right now they're doing well. They signed Josh Doan to an arguable contract. People can talk about a substantial deal.
Yeah.
And they called up Consta Helenius, which I think I was just a few weeks off from that. And Jarmo.
Me, I love Consta, man.
Yeah, me too. Did a good job with that.
I'm a Consta fan, man.
So what's the vibe check, Mike?
I'm constantly a Consta fan.
Things are going good there right now.
Well, yes and no, because up until they beat Nashville, a bad Nashville team, they had lost 2 games in a row, and that coincided with the injury to Josh Norris. And that was the reason why they called up Helenius. Noah Ostlund has really stepped up of recent. And,
I wrote about Noah Ostlund, by the way, on GTS. I just put an article out this week. People could collect him if they'd like.
There you go. But, I mean, Lindy Ruff has basically gone against type in a sense that he has no other choice to play the kids. And he's now singing the praises of Ostlund because Ostlund is playing the way that he says he wants him to play. I think he's just basically playing the way we knew Ostlund could play. But
you talked about it all for a while.
It's those subtle things that Lindy's looking for.
Yeah. But, they put together a kid line of Zach Benson, Ostlund, and Helenius. And in the first period against the Predators, who are not a good team, they scored 3 goals. So
we talk about the tenacity of Zach Benson at this point. He plays with his hair on fire, man. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, and there's no doubt he never falls short of an effort. The only thing I question is with the stats that we saw out of him in the Western Hockey League and what we've seen so far out of him in the NHL, I just don't know whether he would have benefited from playing another year of junior and taking a slower path instead of being injected into the NHL as an 18-year-old. I mean, you wanted more out of that guy to be like a 20-25 goal scorer, and right now he's a 10 to 15 goal scorer. But he's fast, he's a good playmaker, he plays well with skill. But I think that right now I'm wondering whether they maybe regret pushing him into the NHL. But okay, so they lost 2 games in a row without Josh Norris. Their record without Norris is slightly over 500. Their record with him is 13-6. So they need him back, but he's out week to week, and we don't know for sure when he's going to be back. So that's a big problem. As for the Doan signing, the only thing he's been impressive this year. No doubt.
His skating's gotten better. I remember seeing him 2 years ago, and I was nonplussed. Last year was better, but not great. This year, I saw a big difference early in the year.
And he's good. He's good in tight to the net. He's got good hands. He
always had good hands. That was the thing. Could he get to the net? That was his thing.
Yeah, his skating is a little better, and he's playing with Tage Thompson. He plays well. Again, he plays well with skilled players. The question I have is the term, 7 years. They almost did the same thing that they did with Thompson. Thompson had the big first year, and they signed him to a 7-year contract, which was risky. And that risk paid off because he has stayed relatively healthy since he signed that deal, and now they've got one of the best scorers in the league at $7.1 million. Right now Doan's got 35 points. He's had a good half season, so they're rolling the dice again. What I think this indicates, and I think it has less to do with Doan, what this indicates to me is that Alex Tuch is gone, because I don't think they would have signed this deal had they, not to say that they wouldn't have signed, they weren't interested in signing Doan to a long-term deal, but the Doan and Benson extensions were things that were in question whether they signed Tuch to a long-term deal. And now, since they've signed Doan to a long-term extension, I think it lessens the likelihood of them getting Tuch on a long-term deal. But the thing I wonder now about Jarmo is and everybody's said this, Jarmo didn't trade Panarin, didn't trade Bobrovsky in 2019 when they were and he kept them as own rentals. This is not Columbus, and Buffalo is not in the same position as Columbus was in 2019. They cannot let Alex Tuch walk away for nothing. They can, just for the sake of making the playoffs for the first time in 14 years.
Yeah, but they can't take picks either. It has to be a hockey trade.
Yeah, it has to be. Well, no, okay. It has to be a deal similar to the deal that they made for Peterka. There may have to be futures in the deal, but I think
futures aren't going to get him in the playoffs, Mike.
No, we're right, Russ. But I'm saying if he walks away for nothing, you have to get something for him. And I'm taking Jarmo at his word. He says, "Well, we're making deals for the future and not for the now." Well, okay.
But let's not take him at his word, because that same owner who owns the Sabres is the same one that had a very interesting press conference the other day in Buffalo and for the Bills. And so, he's going to tell.
One thing's for sure, Russ. He's going to support his general manager.
Yes, he will support the GM.
I mean, to the death, to the point of obfuscating the actual truth of what happens,
or even the players' feelings. But yes,
well.
But here's the thing, though. So with Jarmo, he's going to say, Jarmo, if you can make the playoffs, go make the playoffs. So he can't let Tuch walk for picks or futures when he's trying to make the playoffs. That's my thing. So he's going to have to get an NHL player in that deal. He's going to have to.
Or you get picks and prospects for Tuch, and you flip the picks and prospects for players.
Okay, I mean, that's possible, but that makes it a lot harder.
I want to know one thing. Anna keeps talking in the background. What does Anna think about trading out?
I don't know what she thinks.
I know what her favorite song is. It's Counting Crows, Anna Begins.
There you go. Even though she spells it different, though. But that's okay.
Oh, no fireworks.
Nope, no fireworks.
Okay.
Sorry.
They disabled it.
Not working.
So I just feel like they're going to have to get a player for him. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that shakes out. I do agree. I think he'll be gone, but would I be shocked if he's kept as an own rental? I wouldn't be. And what do you think?
I would be surprised if they did. I just feel like, as Mike stated, when you're making these kind of long-term commitments here, and you're trying, it seems like that the money, and I mean, they could potentially figure it out, but I just feel like that commitment would have probably happened already.
The way I looked at it was, if they were signing Tuch to a long-term deal, they would have signed Doan to a bridge deal, because the cap hit would have been less, because Tuch is asking for, and maybe he's not going to get Kempe's number. Maybe he's not going to get 10.6, but he's probably going to he's asking for, and he's probably going to get 10 from most everybody, especially since Panarin is going to get traded, and who knows whether he's going to sign with the team that trades him, or he's just going to go free agent at the end of the year. But after Panarin gets traded, I mean, the team that the news about Panarin being traded, the team that was happy the most was probably the Rangers, because they're going to get something for him. But the second team that was the second team that it affected in a bad way was Buffalo, because now Tuch will be target number one on July 1st if Panarin signs with that team, and the likelihood of him.
Panarin's not going to sign. No, he's just going to be.
You think he's going to be a mercenary and just go wherever?
Yeah, but that's been kind of his.
That's
thing
his style
for his career. That's his style. When he went from Columbus to New York, it's just
he's not signing with anybody.
Okay.
But what will they do? I mean, I see these reports like, hey, the Rangers everybody's available. Okay, great. I mean, that's fantastic. But I do think Panarin will be the first guy to go. It wouldn't shock me if he goes within the next 2 weeks before the freeze, whenever that freeze is. February.
I think we are kind of and I did a show earlier in the week with Mike Fink on his Ice Time podcast, and it was all about discussing the trade deadline and how this is basically the Olympic break is.
Yeah.
I think in many ways is very much a trade deadline in this case, and why teams are just going to want to make sure to have their rosters in a row. And the big acquisitions, especially after what we saw with Anderson and of course
Sherwood. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would, if I'm a GM, I'm trading for guys that aren't in the Olympics. Just saying.
Well, that's why I think
guys.
That's why I think there are going to be some general managers that are going to wait. There are going to be some general managers who want to make the deal before the Olympics because of especially with players who aren't going to the Olympics. Then there'll be players that are going to the Olympics that they're going to wait to see if they're healthy and then make a trade for them before March.
And then we need to see also, while the Olympics are going on, if there's going to be in terms of RFA signings and things of that sort, that were deals that are trying to be negotiated. That can happen, by the way, right? I mean, you can sign a player. It's not, and we had this discussion. It was like, I said, you can't make a trade. That roster is frozen, but doesn't mean you can't sign the player already on your roster. It doesn't mean
right.
It sounds like a lot of GMs are going to use that break to talk to agents to get Yep. I know that the rumor is that Toronto is going to talk to Scott Lawton's agent to try to get him signed on a deal. He wants to stay in Toronto. They want
Philly, same thing with Trevor Zegras. I think I would be surprised if they don't figure something out by the end of the Olympic break.
Yeah.
So
how many? I was going to ask for us. How many players on that range? Who besides Panarin gets moved by the Rangers? There's a lot of Vinny Trocheck talk.
I don't think they don't have to move Trocheck, and I think Sullivan would fight to keep him.
He's got 3 years. I looked at it. He's got 3 years left at $5.6 million. Why the hell would you trade him?
That's a great contract. I know there's teams out there. I think it's fun to float those things. Exactly. It's fun to float those things out there, especially for teams that are looking for center depth, like a team like Minnesota, for example. That one that would kind of make sense if New York decided to move off.
But I don't think they will.
I'm doubtful on that as well.
Carson Soucy, sure.
Soucy for a 2029 6th-round pick.
Toronto would sign up right now.
Braden Schneider, maybe.
Ooh,
maybe.
Schneider would be,
because he's sort of fallen out of favor a little bit with Sullivan. So they probably would be looking to get
him. It's just like maybe he just doesn't fit Sullivan's style.
Right.
And
he has talent. There's no doubt.
Talent. I like Snyder.
But that's the thing. They could trade him for somebody where is a guy who's close to the NHL, a defenseman, and a pick, something like that. Yeah, you might get that. And I mean like a 5th-round pick or something. Lafreniere is the other one. I think he could benefit from a change of scenery. Like I watch him, he's obviously a decent player. He's not going to be like what you consider that first overall guy, but he did have 57 points 2 years ago. And I think he can be a 50-point player, but he's just probably not going to be on that team unless the way he can get to 50 on that team is if like Panarin's gone, everybody's gone, he gets all the power play opportunity and everything else, then he might. So there is that argument too.
There's no rush in moving him. There should be no rush in moving him. Just like there should be no rush in moving Shane Wright in Seattle, which is, David Pagnotta has been reporting that they're shopping him. It's like I looked. He's got another year left on his ELC, and he scored 19 goals last year. I know he's not having a good year this year, but why are you?
And I have a feeling in this case that it's not jiving with Lane Lambert, and I'm wondering if that's part of it. And just if there's teams that are out there, you got to think if you're looking for a young center and you're trying to grow. I mean,
Why do I have a feeling he gets traded to Boston and becomes the next Barry Peterson? You know what I'm saying? It's just like.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I thought, hey, would this be an area where the Flyers, who are looking for a young center depth, might get involved? And I know Anthony DeMarco indicated from Daily Faceoff that the Flyers are not looking necessarily at right, which I guess it depends on what
the price will be very high. It's not like they're giving away.
Yeah, you're going to have to probably trade like a Tippett in order to make that deal happen. And
right.
question whether or not Seattle would want.
And that's what Seattle is looking for. They're looking for an NHL scorer.
Yeah.
And they're deep up. They think they're deep up the middle with Beniers and with Stevenson, and they can afford to trade Wright if they can get.
Well, honestly, if you look at Stevenson, some of Stevenson's numbers in this case, I know his advanced stats aren't fantastic. So a lot of people are wondering why prioritizing Stevenson, but I get it. Maybe.
And I'll pour a gallon of cold water on the Robert Thomas stuff. Like Doug Armstrong's not trading him unless he gets a massive deal.
Yeah, precisely. It's just
not happening.
It's fascinating that it got floated out there to the point where it almost makes me kind of wonder that sort of St. Louis, in some ways, I wonder if they're trying to annoy Thomas a little bit
or the agent did it because Thomas is annoyed with the team.
That's true. It could be in this case the fact that they're not competitive.
Well, it could also be Armstrong trying to get GMs to call him about Thomas and him like subtly say, "Hey, but I don't want to trade Thomas, but Kyrou maybe. But I do have Braden Shen. I do have Justin Falk. I do have like all these other 30-year-olds."
Are you saying they're engaging in some bait and switch here, Michael?
Oh no!
No offense to Braden Shen, who lined up once recently as a number one center, which clearly he is not anymore. He could still play a little. I mean, I'm sure there's room in Toronto for him, Mike.
I think for a team that's probably looking to have that one additional center, as long as you're not thinking he is your number one center.
Right. So here we go.
Thankfully, the rumored trade that supposedly that Armstrong wanted from the Leafs, that came close. I think I think it was CJ that reported this, was Cowan, Danford, and a number one.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So, and had the Leafs been able to get Luke Shen from Nashville or Pittsburgh, that was the condition. He was only going to waive his no trade if they got his brother Luke from.
Oh my God.
So they would have done that deal. It sounds like
Dave Nonis would have done that deal, but that's just
so Leaf fans can thank Kyle Dubas for trying to rob his former team, just like Craig Conroy tries to rob his former. Oh, that's right. Exactly. Let's just say this: Brad Treliving should lose the Calgary Flames GM's phone number because he's tried to get Zadorov, he's tried to get Anderson, he's tried to get Tanev. They tried to basically rob the Leafs blind on all of them. Now supposedly Nazem Kadri, okay, he's 35 years old. He's got 3 years. How do you need another old guy who hasn't stabbed you in the back twice?
I mean, me personally, I would love to see Kadri have a renaissance back in Toronto. I think, Mike, you would love that.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah, troll.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
I mean, I think that would be great for the show. I'm
Anthony,
all for that.
I'm waiting for Russ to bring up on Sunday whether they should raise Mitch Marner's number 16 into the rafters.
Who posted something about that?
I don't know.
My editor Mike Tracos wrote an article for
Michael.
I know, no offense to your boss here, but man, that was an engagement.
Yeah,
that's bite.
Yeah. So last thing, seemingly feeling like a flip house situation. The rink in Milan has other issues that are just sort of coming out besides, it's shorter than it's supposed to be. And
don't say.
And you don't have enough seats. And yes, there could be plumbing issues. There's also exposed wiring. I found that one interesting.
Here it goes.
OSHA's going to bust them.
What OSHA?
This wouldn't even pass like the worst of inspections.
I am shocked that there's drinking in this establishment. Yeah. I mean, this is a cluster fuck of the highest order.
There goes the rating on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
It lasted almost the whole show.
Yeah, it really is, and basically it's like. It sounds like the PA and the NHL are just going to hold their nose and pray to God that somebody doesn't blow out their ACL.
Well, that's the thing. What if all of a sudden, like after like that first day of 5 games, the ice starts to deteriorate?
The end of the Olympics you're gonna get a T-shirt that says "I survived the Milano Olympics."
It's the end of the world as we know it.
Firefest, whatever that was.
Russ, they'll be singing.
It's the Firefly.
They'll be singing "It's the End of the World as We Know It," and I feel fine. That's what. No, this is an absolute travesty. They're hoping they just get through this without people, without players getting seriously injured. And I don't know. I mean, I honestly, I hope
I hear just through other like channels that the NHL might really crack the whip on the next one, even though it's going to be in Salt Lake in 2030. They want to have more control, and you know what? I kind of get it.
No, Salt Lake is 2034. 2030 is the French Alps.
Oh, French Alps. So that's why. That's why they would maybe want to have more control.
Well, okay. How about this idea, folks? Are you going to build a 15,000 seat arena in the French Alps? No. How about playing it in Paris? How about playing it where there's an existing building?
It could be like next to a Swiss chalet, Mike. Why can't they do that?
Play in Switzerland, right next to a Swiss chalet.
Well, the Alps, don't they share the Alps? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Little yodel in between periods.
They do. I heard from the back. They do.
That'll be the goal. That'll be the goal horn. That'll be the goal
Swiss
horn.
miss.
A yodel.
The yodel and the goal horn happen.
But I can see the NHL grabbing hold of this a little more because the IOC really, they took them down a path here that's not great.
Everybody's going to be drinking Swiss Miss and having Ricola in their.
And I could also tell you on the broadcast, you're not going to see any of these imperfections. They're not going to talk about any of these imperfections. Everything's going to be great.
No, they'll get the Arizona Coyotes TV crew that did Mullet Arena that made it look like a Taj Mahal.
I don't know if they ever did that. I mean, I remember when the Flyers went in there, people wanted to talk to John Tortorella. John was sort of on his best behavior. I remember he said this isn't the greatest place or something like that, but he really could have. He bit his tongue on that one.
That'll be the first time.
That's it for Off the Post. We'll catch everybody next time.
Take care, everybody.